how have you
We thank
been?
God for everything. Fine, no, we thank God. Bearing COVID and everything in mind. We thank God.
Yes. So what's been happening to you?
Well, it's been a long year. Personally, I mean, like, I went abroad briefly just to go visit my daughter in February, just for 3 weeks, and I got locked out, so to speak. So I ended up 5 months.
Are you serious?
Okay, yes, I was locked out for 5 months. You know, without planning. I only planned to go for 3 weeks. I ended up staying for exactly 5 months. So throughout that period, you know, and that was when there was a lockdown both abroad and here. So I was kind of like just indoors throughout, and for me, I just seized all that opportunity to do other things. I continued with my art, my drawings. I started, I just joined a lot of social media apps, singing apps, TikTok, and all that. I just started churning out videos and things like that. It was a moment of self-discovery, so to speak. So it kind of helped me to discover other things and other talents that I didn't really pursue, that I wasn't really I didn't really realize I had, so to speak. So I did all of that. So it was kind of like blessing in disguise, I would say. So
Okay.
that was it, really.
Okay,
the
so
downside. Yeah.
okay. And where was Tunde?
He was back here. That's what I wanted to say.
Okay.
The downside was it was just me and my daughter. So
Okay.
he was here in Nigeria with my sons, who, you know, I mean, who I so missed. We were all missing each other, and you know, so that was the downside, that we were not together. You know, so it was just me and my daughter for the whole of the 5 months.
So what were the lessons? What were the lessons that you learned from the experience?
From the experience, well, you know, I learned that first of all, this life, you know, you learn to appreciate people more. Definitely, you learn not to take life for granted. You learn to appreciate the little things. You learn to appreciate the little things. You learn to understand what's important, what's more important, and then you also learn one of the major lessons I also learned was that stop procrastinating. Do it, and do it. Is it do it afraid? Just do it. If there's something you want to do, you want to try, you're thinking about, just do it. You've got nothing to lose. Just do it. You know, time waits for no one. Period.
So are there plans for the next 3 months to the end of the year? Do you have plans of maybe doing anything?
The next 3 months. Sorry, someone is joining me.
Okay. Good evening, my brother.
Good evening.
The next 3 months, really, that's towards the end of this year. You know, initially we had all thought, okay, this year is gone. Just let this year, because of what had been going on. We didn't know when it was all going to come to an end, if it was going to come to an end. So at that time, we had kind of like stilled our minds that, okay, let this year go. But in terms of we feel that even if we're just indoors or whatever the case may be, we would still be working on our craft. So we would still be trying to get into the studio. Luckily, we have a studio in our compound here. We'll go into the studio. We try to work on some more songs and stuff, and you know, just do a lot of things. Begin to lay the foundation for 2021, because there's not much. This year has really gone by. There's not much that can be done now, you know, but we can work on the inside, behind the scenes, in order to, you know, get things out in the following year.
Okay. I welcome you, Tunde. How are you doing?
Fine, oh, great to be here. Great to see you again. It's been a while.
Same here.
COVID has separated us.
Honestly. So how's 2020 been? I mean, since March, what have you been up to?
I think the whole thing, like everybody else, it took us unawares. It took us by shock. It took us by surprise. I mean, if anybody had told us that this year we'd all have to lock ourselves in, for Nigeria, it was about 2 months plus with no activity and nothing. You know, I mean, nobody would have believed. We had the whole year mapped out. We had engagements. We had bookings. We had everything, you know, going. We had plans for the studio, and everything just came to a dead stop. Unfortunately, the financial aspect doesn't come to a dead stop. You still have to consider the people that work for you to pay them
Yeah.
salaries.
Yeah.
And you know, life goes on, even though life has stopped. Especially for those of us who are in the entertainment industry, who depend on our day-to-day, you know, activities to make ends meet. Those on salaries even had to. Some of them suffered half pay, you know, for quite a few months. It was tough. Let me just say it that way. It was tough, and it took us unawares.
So
But
what are the lessons?
we're still here.
What are the lessons? Yeah.
Well, for me, it made my humanity more clear to me, that in the grand scheme of everything, you are just one person and you really don't control anything. You know, God Almighty controls it all. I remember, I mean, this year we've lost so many people. I'm sure you are aware of a lot of good friends that have
Yes.
passed away this 2020. It's been a horrendous year. So they had their own plans, they had their own dreams, but they were not able to fulfill it, not knowing that this would be their last year on earth. So it has humbled me a lot and made me just realize that as much as we human beings try, we should defer to God. Allow Him to take control. You know, just do your own best. Don't do anything like do or die. Do your best at and leave the rest to God. If that's not your path, try something new. You know, I'm not so hard fist about life anymore. I'm just now more relaxed and just taking the days as they come.
So did they give you enough time to maybe compose new songs and come up with new creative things?
Well, for me, I wanted to write songs to make people feel happy. You know, going into 2021, I wanted to see whether we can come up with something for 2021 that would just be all about joy. You know, we had a song on the last album called Ire that everybody liked because it always celebrates life, it celebrates good things, and everybody likes those kind of songs. But in all honesty, you know, our creativity is always hampered by what we are surrounded with. So you find that every time you sit down, maybe to write, all you're thinking about is sorrow, death, you know, sickness, illness. It becomes difficult to be inspired to do something sweet and melodious. But, you know, it's a task that we've given ourselves. And we're going to definitely try and come into 2021 with a song that will gladden everybody's heart and, you know, just ease the tension a little bit. Because that's the job of musicians, really. We're not supposed to be sucked in by the environment. It's our job to give life to people, no matter what we are going through. If you think about it, you realize that even artists that are no longer with us, people still use their songs for inspiration. So that's
true.
You have to look at yourself like somebody who, beyond the physical, somebody whose voice can still be heard, even when you're no longer here. People can still be inspired by what you say. So at this point in our careers, I think we have to be very, very aware that as elders in the industry now, I mean, we're becoming elders in the industry now. We should add value. We should add inspiration. We should make all the things that make people go through their day to day, not give them more things to chew and think about and drag them down. I think there's
how do you see the effects on the industry, on the entertainment industry as a whole?
You want to take that?
The effect of
the effect of the lockdown, the pandemic, and all of that on the industry.
Well, personally, I think you know, it hasn't been easy, to be honest, because anything that has to do with entertainment basically requires crowd, requires a gathering. You know, so be it whether it's a concert, whether it's a show, whether it's a party or some kind of event. So far as entertainment, there it requires a gathering, and this COVID thing does not support. I mean, to get rid of COVID, it doesn't support gatherings. We're talking about social distancing and all of that. So definitely, the industry has been hard hit. It really has been hard hit. But you know, we have a very should I say, we persevere. You know, it's not been easy. There's no doubt about it. You know, people are not being called for concerts anymore. People are not being called for shows. This is what really brings food to the table at the end of the day, if we're to be honest. You know, and it didn't quite work out that way for so many months. Even now that things are getting better, there's a limit. There's a limit to how much, you know, how much things can normalize at this point. For the rest of this year, there's a limit to how much we can get normalcy, you know, due to the COVID thing. So I know that, but at the end of the day, we're very strong, resilient lot. I know a lot of artists that, well, a lot of people that quickly diversified, quick thinking. Some people they are advertising food. That I cook soup and all sorts of things. You know, we see them. You know, they go into other things. Somebody will tell you that, oh, I now supply eggs. We go to the market. We do. You know, so people, they have to look for other means of livelihood. In a nutshell, you know. But I know that at the end of the day, what we love doing best, we will still end up going back to it.
One of my dear brothers is now selling bread. So.
Bread. So how has it been sustaining the brand over the years? I mean, you've kept at it and it's getting stronger and stronger. So what's been the secret?
I think the main thing is not to try to compete with anybody.
Okay.
As individuals, you are who you are. Your brand, as Shereka, is city people.
Yeah.
City people is city people. So
yeah.
I mean, that's it. You know, you have to just concentrate on yourself, what you're doing, and then try and find out what the things you're doing that people like.
Okay.
What they appreciate, and continue to go, you know, along that line. I think everybody will have their own fan base. I mean, at every point in time, things change. There will always be the new kids on the block. But it doesn't mean that those who have been around cannot concentrate on those people who like what they do and service them. You know, that is the beauty of music. You know, not everybody will like a particular song, but at the same time, not everybody will hate it. So somebody will definitely appreciate what you're doing. So just concentrate on your own fan base and try to deliver to them what they want.
That's true. What's your message to your fans? A lot of them are watching you right now. So what is the message to them?
Well, basically just to say thank you for keeping faith with us over the years. I mean, it's not easy to be in people's faces. Women and I have been together. We've been singing together for 32 years. So I mean, we've been on stage at different you know, times in our lives and different stages all over the country, all over the world, and people have always embraced us. So I can only say thank you. At this point, what do you want to tell them more than thank you? Thank you for the support. Thank you for the love. Thank you for the appreciation. Because it's because of them we do what we do. And if nobody's listening to you, you will stop doing what you're doing. So a big thank you. And there's much more to come from us. Expect beautiful songs in 2021 by God's grace.
Okay. How do you see the music industry today with a lot of new players, new songs, new styles of singing and all of that? What do you make of all of this?
A lot of the songs I actually appreciate. You know, I've never been somebody that likes graphic songs. When I say graphic, I'm trying to be decent. Songs that either paint sexuality and those things that kind of run away. It's not part of what we do. But there are some good songs. I think there are a lot of artists that are doing very, very well, and they're capturing. Every generation has its own artists, and every generation has to capture the attention of the people. So I appreciate a lot of what they're doing, but I would still appeal that people can still stand alone. Don't say because one artist has done something successfully, the next 10 artists that come up want to sound exactly like that guy. You know, it doesn't really work. When he came up with his own sound, I mean, it was accepted. Do something that is you. The only thing I always advise is, what tempo are people playing now? It's very important that an artist knows the tempo of the music that is in vogue, so that when you come out with yours, regardless of the genre, it will fit in. DJs will be able to mix it with the current song. So that's just it. They should keep doing what they're doing. We're listening to them from the background, and I'm giving a lot of them thumbs up.
Yeah. Yeah. One thing I also think point out is the fact that we have to also commend these artists and hand it over to them, because it is, whether or not we like it, through them, the world has taken notice of Nigeria, the Nigerian music industry.
That is true.
They have sold us to the world. And now the foreign artists, they're enjoying our music. They're looking forward to it. They're relating with us. They're relating with our artists, you know, and it's like, they're like Nigeria to the world. These are the reps. And not only that, because of their massive following, they have given the Nigerian youth a voice. Because let us not, you know, what is going on right now, the protests and stuff like that, we know it is these artists that are leading them, that is helping them to have a voice. And it is through these same young artists that the foreign industry is also taking notice and also, you know, channeling into our cause. So I think they've done very well in that aspect. They've kind of like put us out there on the map. So that's a good thing.
Would you say that they're a bit lucky, because for you and Tunde, you always go through the rigors of writing songs, composing songs, and all of that. But for a lot of the new artists today, they just sing to the beat, as it were, and all that. I noticed that change in the styles, and I'm wondering, aren't they lucky that they can go about it this new way than the more tedious way that you, the veterans, are?
What I would say is, when we started,
yeah,
the music was held to a higher standard. If you think back, I mean, I was born in the late 60s, so I grew up in the 70s to be hearing music for the first time. I mean, that music made sense to me was in the 70s. As a Nigerian, at that time, being from the Southwest, I heard people like Sonny Ade and Chief Ebenezer Commander Ebenezer OBE. And a lot of their songs and lyrics made so much sense. It's like, even you'll be thinking down to, how did this person sit down and write, you know, compose this thing that makes so much sense. When you listen to Le Taillon, you can't satisfy everybody, you know, and then songs like that made so much sense. And, you know, songs about enmity and people just being jealous of you for no reason because you are doing well. They wrote songs that made sense, and we all grew up with that. So for you to say you want to release something, people first ask, what is he saying? So that was the generation we came from. But you find that, you know, the influence of drugs, let's be honest with ourselves, has also, you know, come into the industry. So when you hear a beat, something just comes, the first thing that comes to your mouth is what you sing. And if you give it to people and they reject it, you won't do that again. But if you give it to people and they accept it, why would you not want to continue on that line or cut corners to? It's a means to an end, really. I mean, those of us who are sitting down to construct lyrics, looking for rhymes, our lyrics are almost like poetry. And then by the time you know, see the lyrics, you'll be like, oh, wow, this is beautiful, even without hearing the song. But if you find that you can repeat the same thing over and over and over and over again, and people are singing along with you, and you're saying the same thing throughout, like, why not do that? I mean, if people like it. So, I mean, they found a way to hit people faster, quicker, easier, which is what is really happening today, really. Let's be honest with ourselves. Everything is now on the internet. When we started, for someone to hear your song, it had to be at least played on a radio station. And there were not that many. For someone to actually see your video, it had to be aired by a television station. And there were not that many. But now, I can finish a song in the studio right now and put it on my platform, and at least those that are following me will see it immediately. You can gauge their you know, interest in the song. You can see their reaction instantly. It's almost like the way stand-up comedians are, that they stand in front of the crowd, deliver a joke, and instantly they know whether it's funny or not based on the crowd reaction. Musicians didn't have that luxury back in the day. You would record, listen, give it to one or two people. Those days when we used to do albums, we used to invite journalists, our journalist friends, to our house to play the song for them. Then they would listen, spend hours on it, and everybody would make their own comments, ask us to change this, or why don't you do this, or why did you do that? They would go back to the studio and correct. But now, instantly, you can gauge people's reaction. So that's the world today. So, and they're riding on that wave and they're enjoying it. Things have totally changed. You can be a star, almost instantly if you are lucky enough to be. So things have changed, and that's why the music too has changed, and people accept it. What can we do?
Okay.
But to go along.
Okay. How do you get inspiration for your songs?
Well, more or less things that happen around us. Okay. I think more or less things that happen around us, and then things that happen that you notice or witness and see, and then you just know, when you come across a lot of people and you see that they are down because of the economy, things are not going well for them in their business. You try and do music to uplift them. They try to write about specific, sometimes that's how we've always been. Like, when we did Mubomoy at that time, we were a party band, so we were always playing at parties, and we'd see a lot of people sneaking in, trying to match the color of the day, even though they know nobody there, just because they want to collect the gifts that they give out. So the idea of Mubomoy came, and we did it. Adukwe, just to thank God for everything. Sometimes God will just tell you, don't ask me for anything, just praise me, just thank me for the ones I've already done. Because people are fond of getting on their knees to say, Father Lord, I need the house, I need that Range Rover, I need this, I need that. But people always forget that sometimes you just need to worship him. Worship him and let him be God, in your life. So that was why we did that. It's just a song to say thank you, God. So there are different, inspirations come from, I think, WUNMI.
Yeah.